SMT Nation, we back. Nation, we're going to do a deep dive here on the Verizon Q4 2023 earnings. We're going to look at all the metrics with respect to the business segments, the consumer segments, how the growth went, what areas are strengths, what areas showed weakness, possibly some projections for 24. This is actually the slide presentation from the company to investors. So let's see what Verizon's got cooking here for the quarter. We did the basic overview of the quarter, looking at the financials, looking at the main points of the quarter, but this will offer kind of a more granular approach to the results, and we can look at more specifics and details within this video. I'm going to go ahead and put chapter markers down in the description, the timestamps or whatever, and then they'll be built into the timeline of the video, and you guys can like skip and jump back and do what you got to do. All right, I'll be sure to link the investor relations page for you guys if you want to get access to some of the resources that Verizon puts out publicly to its investors. I'll put that down in the description box. Ways to support the SMT YouTube channel can be found there as well. All right, guys, Q4 2023 earnings season is off and running. Started here by Verizon. Tomorrow we got AT&T, and the next day we got T-Mobile. We'll see how they shake out after looking at Verizon's earnings today. All right, so this we've actually already seen, right? So this is service revenues, adjusted EBITDA, free cash flows. We covered that. The strength here is probably, the fact that their free cash flows is possibly going to be the best in industry. The reason I say possibly is you could get a surprise to the upside from AT&T. I don't think T-Mobile would beat either of them, but you never know. So we have to wait and see. Some of the different individualized items here, met financial guidance and stuff like that for service revenues. It's just Verizon confirming to their investors that you should have confidence in what we're doing and it's working. And that's the basic premise and reason for that. So good by Verizon. All right, this is the operating metrics. These are some of the things we care about, right? All right, consumer retail postpaid phone net adds. I want you guys to look at something. Q4 2022, so 1 year ago, year-over-year quarter, Verizon was plus 41,000 in consumer retail postpaid phone net adds. I want you to take a look at the number for this quarter. Plus 318,000 retail postpaid phone net adds, right? And I'm not sure what the other connections were. It ended up being like plus 449,000. Guys, they are able to grow. I know a lot of people have commentary, and they've got their thing about Verizon. They can't grow. They don't know how to run a business. I'm not sure if that's believable. I think they're doing what they feel is appropriate, and when they want to grow, they can. It just doesn't seem like it's something they want to do all the time. They want to pick their spots. Q4 was one of those spots. I think that's the best way to portray it and kind of view it. All right, because you had only plus 41,000 in Q4 of last year. You had losses in Q1 of 23, losses in Q2 of 23, losses in Q3 of 23, and then you have big gains. Now, I want you guys to look at the number, right? If you look at 2023 as a year, you've got losses that are probably over 400,000, but now you've got a plus 318,000, and I think total connections is over 450,000. So it's basically a push year off of a big quarter. I mean, they know how to grow. It's just whether or not they choose to. I think that's probably the most accurate way to describe it. All right, business. They were plus 131,000. So like business lines and stuff like that. That's one of their weakest quarters in a long time. Maybe AT&T's taken a little bit. We did see a down quarter last quarter for AT&T, so maybe it's T-Mobile, right? We know that T-Mobile is making a concerted effort to grow in business. Maybe that's the case. I'll also throw in that Big Cable has also started doing business lines, right, for mobility. Could be a factor here. Maybe. I don't know. But overall, still a strength of the business, right? Broadband net adds. All right, so basically their home internet services. That's a combination of wireline with Fios and DSL. Most of the DSL stuff is loss, but the Fios still grows. And of course, fixed wireless access is their cash cow. That is their growth vector. Plus 413,000 total broadband subs. So they were plus 375,000 in fixed wireless. I don't see a designation business versus consumer. We'll see if we could find that on a later slide or something. But they had growth, and if you look at their trajectory, they're staying around that 400,000 mark. Q4 22, they're plus 416, plus 413, right? So basically in line with last Q4. Looks good from that side. Fixed wireless access a winner for Verizon. Prepaid, still a major problem. You guys will see it down here in the bottom right. Minus 289,000. TracFone is still a problem. Not the worst quarter they've ever had, right? Q1 of this year was awful, minus 351. That's so many. And then Q2 was minus 304. So less losses in Q3 at minus 207, but then it spiked back up again. And we're still waiting for this to turn around. We're still waiting for this to stabilize. I know Total by Verizon is going to be something big for the company in the new year. So that might kind of show itself within the first half of the year, possibly. Probably want to see these losses get down into double digits, not triple digits, right? And then eventually become net positive in some way, shape, or form. You don't want to lose all your customers, right? You paid for that business from TracFone. Time to stabilize it and figure things out. So we think that's happening. We'll see there. Fios was plus 55,000. That's a good number. I think, when you combine that with the DSL disconnections, you kind of see why the, 38,000 net kind of was what it was. Phones are getting upgraded. 5.1 million wireless phones upgrades. That's actually down year over year by 18%. People are upgrading less, folks. Right? Phones are expensive. The economy isn't as bright as I think once portrayed. So that might be a factor, possibly. Not sure. Additionally, I think we'd also throw in the fact you've got gross ads in postpaid. So it's showing growth. It's up 12%. So they were having a rough time of it the last year or two. Looks like things are in the up and up. Here's some of the consolidated financial summaries here on the earnings per share, the adjusted EBITDA and total revenue, which we already covered in the last video. All right, here's a pretty good slide here. It shows us where they are with their debt. Okay, so total debt, they're at 150.7, modest increase from 150.6 last year. The unsecured debt did decrease. I'm sure investors are happy to see any type of debt decreasing. Cash and cash equivalents, that's down from 2.6 to 2.1. And I think all these numbers are in the billions. And net unsecured debt actually came in at 126.4 billion, down from 128 billion. You will see that the number went from 2.7x down to 2.6x year over year. So that's encouraging. Dividends are still getting paid, folks. The unsecured debt is decreasing. Free cash flows are way up from 14 billion to almost 19 billion. That would explain why the stock is popping in pre-market over 4 and 5%, right? I'm not sure where it ends up on the day, but just throwing that out there. These are the guidance numbers that we talked about in the previous video. Here's kind of some of the stuff that's forward-looking that they want to kind of talk about the execution, the right people, the right assets, the right strategy, well-positioned to deliver a 2024. The last thing I got to do is just listen in on the earnings call. So we'll do that, and then we'll have some commentary tonight. We'll possibly do a podcast, so stay tuned to the channel. Subscribe for, updates to this material and this content. And turn on the bell notifications so you know when we drop videos and live streams covering all things telco. AT&T tomorrow, T-Mobile the day after that. It's the earnings season. Let's go. Please do like and share this video. Comment your thoughts and opinions on anything we discussed from Verizon's Q4 earnings. We shall see you all in the next video. Peace.